How's it going? What's up? I'm Grant Cohn. Sorry I'm 5 minutes late. I was just sitting here looking at the ground, thinking about what I was going to say today because I got to get this one right. No, I just wanted you guys to wait. Appreciate you guys waiting. Kyle Shanahan had his conference call about an hour ago, and he started off with a long list of injured players, and he was not in a great mood. I don't think it was personal. He sounded like a guy who knows he's about to not just lose this weekend, but kind of get. Well, I don't want to say that, but he sounded like a guy who worries that the upcoming game could look a lot like the last game. That was my interpretation. But there's news before we get into Kyle Shanahan's mood. Tatum Bethune is out for the year. He tore his groin and will need some sort of a procedure. So the Niners are real thin at linebacker. Interesting. I mean, they came into the offseason knowing this was a big problem, the linebacker position, because Greenlaw was leaving. They wanted to bring him back, but they didn't pay him enough to bring him back. And so they drafted Nick Martin in round 3, but they don't think he's any good, and he's in the concussion protocol, but I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. They asked Kyle Shanahan if he cleared concussion protocol, and Kyle said he forgot to ask or something, because why would you ask about Nick Martin? I mean, he's a last resort. So Dre Greenlaw, they could have brought him back, but he's hurt too. Fred Warner hurt too. There's an update on him. I'll get to him in a minute, but he's not coming back this week. So the middle linebacker is probably going to be Eric Kendricks, who's a vet. He's been around a long time. He's been on the Niners for about a month. I talked to him. We bonded over our UCLA alumni shipness. He went there. I went there. Basically makes us brothers. They have to stop Saquon Barkley, and the D winners is day to day, or they're going to reevaluate him throughout the week. It just sounds like this is a game that the Niners would need a miracle to win. I mean, is it even going to come down to schematics if you can't? Your defensive line is going to get blown off the ball. That's the best offensive line in football. And then your linebackers can't tackle or shed blocks against Saquon Barkley. I mean, will it even matter what Jalen Hurts can do as a passer? He's going to run too. It's going to be a tough matchup. And it's like, you think without Saquon Barkley, without Tatum Bethune, the Niners are in a lot of trouble. Before the season, you didn't even know who he was. You didn't know he was going to be a factor. Now he's like, can the Niners win the game without him? If they lose this game, do you look back and say if they only had Tatum Bethune, they would have been okay? I mean, if they lose this game because of the linebacker position, I think we all kind of assumed they weren't going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think they assumed it when they didn't do anything in the trade deadline. And it was always kind of interesting. What's going to be the thing that ends this season, which was so promising? A season where they had an easy schedule, where they faced a lot of bad teams. I won't call it an easy schedule because they faced some good teams too, but they faced a lot of bad teams, and there was no dominant team in the league. What was going to ultimately be their undoing? I thought maybe their pass rush. Not that. Although, we'll see. It could be their linebacker position. The fact that they let Dre Greenlaw go and they didn't replace him. They tried to. They drafted Nick Martin in round 3, but that was, just an abysmal pick. We didn't get to see him much, but they saw him every day in practice and didn't want to play him. They would play you over Nick Martin if they had to, if it was down to you or Nick. If only they had gotten that pick right. If only they had taken. Can you imagine if they had Carson Schwessinger right now? He was like the first pick in the second round. If the Niners had traded down instead of taking Michael Williams, who may end up being a Hall of Fame player, but if they had addressed their linebacker position early in the draft, where would they be right now? I didn't know. I thought they could get Schwessinger in round 2. That's a tough word to say, but he went to UCLA. Instead, they're getting a UCLA linebacker who's about 15 years older, or 12. So maybe Eric Kendricks won't be bad. Did he play for the Eagles? Did his brother play for the Eagles? Anyway, I'm still not as worried about the Niners defense as I am about the offense. Maybe the Niners defense gets their doors blown off, but it seems like they're pretty good in the red zone. And they're not, even if they're going to give up a lot of time of possession and yards on the ground, they're not going to give up a lot of points unless they're facing Phillip Rivers or Caleb Williams. But, yeah, I mean, the good news is that Brock Purdy apparently has no injury issue, which I find like not suspicious, but he says he's totally fine. Is he really? I mean, he was down on the ground for a long time. And it just seems like they got to figure out which excuse they want to go to if and when they lose this game. And Brock could have a pretty good excuse, like, hey, I have multiple injuries I'm playing through right now, but no excuses for Brock. He's 100% fine. Plenty of excuses for Kyle, all the injuries he has to deal with, but Brock doesn't get the injury excuse. Am I reading too much into it? Of course I am. So Tatum Bethune out for the year.